I'm excited about I'm looking at this information on the news coming out and on this new 3-year bachelor's degree. So, uh, Dr. Lisa Rhine, president of Yavapai College, welcome to the special edition of First to Know. We're going to put you under business. It normally would be under education, but I think under business is appropriate. I'm excited. You guys know we're a big fan of what you guys do in the trades and education. And as I said a couple years ago, I look at you guys, even though you're educators, I look at you guys as community builders and what you're doing in the community in this regard, in this day, in the business community. Why don't you share with us what Yavapai College has just innovated?
Yeah, so we just received authorization from the Higher Learning Commission to be the first community college in the United States to offer an optimized baccalaureate degree, which means that you will be able to receive a baccalaureate degree in business with just 92 credit hours completed. And so a typical credit load for a baccalaureate is 120. So it basically cuts a year off of time spent in education and gets you out into the workforce sooner.
So I'm guessing that means a couple of different things. One is uh, cost for the student, and number two, more people in the workplace, in the workforce, correct?
Sooner
Right.
and with less student debt.
Correct.
And so, the situation in 2021, Governor Ducey gave us authorization, community colleges authorization to offer baccalaureate degrees. There's only 25 states in the nation that are authorized to do that. And we advocated heavily for that and became the first rural community college in Arizona to offer baccalaureate degrees. And then after that, we were working with an organization called AFIT. It's the Alliance for Innovation and Transformation, and it's a higher ed organization working with community colleges. And we were working with them to integrate this concept of foresight and signaling in appropriately signaling, right, into our strategic planning processes. And it's this concept or idea that you look at what is going on in the environment, not only in higher education, but outside of higher ed, to be able to uh, proactively take actions that best serve your constituents. And so we noticed that there were a handful of universities that were talking about offering optimized baccalaureates or 90 credit hour baccalaureate degrees. And it was about 10 dozen schools, universities that were doing that. And it was under a different accrediting body than we're in. And they were allowing them to pilot that. So they hadn't really authorized it, but they were saying, okay, you 10, you can pilot this and see what happens here. And so I saw that happening. And so I contacted our liaison through the Higher Learning Commission. And I said, what are you doing? Is the Higher Learning Commission going to authorize 3-year degrees? And they said, we're talking about it and we hope to have some guidance forthcoming. And so as a result of that, I noticed that no community colleges were having the conversation. There were no community colleges in that space with the universities talking about this option. And so we anticipated that the Higher Learning Commission was going to come out with this guidance, and we got to work on creating the first 92 credit hour baccalaureate. And so that's kind of how it all came about. But when Ducey announced that, the reason that we were able to advocate so heavily for baccalaureate degrees at Yavapai College was that we had students that their full intent was to come to Yavapai College, get 2 years, and transfer to the 4-year university, but they're not doing it. They're not transferring from Yavapai, even though that's their intent, and they complete their associate's degree here. And when we dug down deeper to find out why that was happening, there were a couple of reasons. And one was obviously costs, right? It costs a lot of money to take those last 2 years at the university. And secondly, our students tend to be older and tend to be place bound. They are working, They have full-time jobs, they have families here, they just can't pack up and go to a university for 2 years, right? And so they just weren't going on and getting the baccalaureate degree, and that was particularly true for minorities and individuals that were low income. And so they were being left behind, and so that's the, kind of the rationale we use to move and advocate for baccalaureate degrees generally. The other issue is that students are losing a significant number of credit hours in transfer. So if they transfer from a 2-year to a 4-year university, on average, they lose 43% of their credits
Yikes.
when they transfer. Now, the universities will say, "Okay, we'll take your credits," and they do take them as electives, but they don't apply them toward the completion of the baccalaureate degree, and so it requires our students to often take at least 1 full semester more. So, they're it leads to higher costs, longer time to get that degree, let you know, longer time to get out into the workforce, and then increased student debt because they often have to take student loans to do so. So, really, it is about cost, but it is also about, a broken transfer, pipeline, that exists here in the state and comes down to accessibility, affordability, and options for students in Yavapai County.
Of course. What comes to my mind that's it's exciting is this the process that you have established, in creating this program, is it gonna help going forward to create other classes and other programs to make them more available. And I would think that and quicker. And the reason why I want to use the word quicker, faster, is the way things are changing so fast. I had the opportunity to sit on some of the C-Tech programs uh, at the local level as well as state and the State Board of Education. And I know that our local schools, our high schools are tracking behind or trying really hard to keep up with what the industry needs. Is this something that's going to help keep pace or even keep in front of when you when people interview people like me? Who are you hiring and why? And what do you need? And I say, I need the same things I need last year, but I also need AI. And that was my answer to the high schools this year was, I need the Adobe Creative Suite for my people in the media, room producing videos like this, but my guy's using 5 different AI programs to help us keep up with productivity and keep down costs. Is that something this program may help do in the future as you really dial it in?
You're absolutely on point. So, all of the academic programs that we create are industry driven. And so the industry is changing so quickly because of AI and all the other things that it it really positions us as a community college to be able to respond to that more quickly because we have the agility and flexibility to be able to do that. And it's across the spectrum of all the programs that we offer, everything from a very small micro credential that will get somebody in the door for a job to a longer term credential like a certificate or an industry credential to an associate's degree to a baccalaureate degree or an optimized baccalaureate. So yes, I mean, that's is the name of the game right now. We education is changing, the value of education is being questioned, and especially higher education, and so we must be responsive to industry partners and to what our local workforce needs are, and that is absolutely the name of the game here at Yavapai College. And so, yes, we hope to put out a number of other shorter term optimized baccalaureate degrees, but we're also looking at shorter term industry credentials, micro credentials, based on what industry is telling us they need here locally, which may be different from Phoenix, may be different in the state. And so we've had a lot of questions around that and conversations around that. But you hit that right on the head. That's exactly the direction we're headed.
Right, I enrolled in a certification course just to get up to speed on computer science as it relates to AI and Python because I'm dealing with vendors now. They're giving me quotes for these agents and programs, and we have to keep pace with competition. And I need to know what they're talking about. I'm not going to write Python. I'm going to have a programmer do it, but I need to know what they're talking about. And so for me, this is exciting to see our local partner in Yavapai College actually seeing the value in we need to move fast. We need to collaborate to get it done at the state level and legislate for that, as well as fight for the people that are pursuing education, as you mentioned, not losing those credits. I was not aware of that, being that bridge to help make that happen because of it's you feel like you're losing time, which is even more valuable than currency, right? And that's gotta be frustrating
Absolutely.
as a young person. So, it's really exciting to see, but a leader in business and leading a team of people, I'm always saying we need to move faster. And to see the
Yeah.
educational system stepping up and leading that charge, to me, is super exciting.
Yeah, and I wanna point out that it's optimized, it is accelerated, but it still maintains the same exact quality standards and outcomes of a baccalaureate degree that isn't optimized. So the Higher Learning Commission was very clear about that. We had the same accrediting body as the universities, and we have to meet the same quality standards and same outcomes, even with the optimized degree. So we're not losing quality, we're just expediting the process and allowing students to do it more affordably, more accessibly. Um, I would like to talk a little bit about cost, but I'm sure you're going to ask me that question
No,
anyway,
go
right?
go for it. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the total cost for this 3-year degree is $9,482. So for less than $10,000, you can get a baccalaureate degree. No textbook costs are included because it's all open educational resources for textbooks, and there's no hidden or associated fees
That's it.
that universities. So that's it. And so it's like one-fifth of the cost of a university degree. An average cost of an Arizona public university for a 4-year degree is $52,000, and that's just tuition. So if they actually have to stay there, room and board, it's $115,000. Now this degree is entirely online, and as I said, no other additional costs or textbooks, and you can do it for 10.
Right.
So a fifth of the cost, and so there's just no comparison in terms of what's the best option for students. And then we're really focused on default rate and trying to discourage students from taking student loans and trying to decrease student debt. And so for us, that's been a big push at the institution. We've done a really great job in reducing our default rate to less than 3%. It's actually 2.3%. So it's part of the issue too. We don't want students to leave worse off than when they came to us. We want them to come to us, get the degree, and leave without student debt and have the credential that they need to enter into the workforce.
So I'm an old guy and I had to go to class every day. Um, do I understand that this is 100% online?
Yes.
Okay. And is it self-paced? Can you explain that a little bit for maybe I know a lot of people take online courses, but maybe for somebody who never has?
Yeah. So this one is offered in 8-week format.
Okay.
So in the traditional, and we do that intentionally because research says that the 16-week semester is problematic for a lot of students. And 16 weeks is a long time for things to happen to someone, right? Where they might have to, drop the class or something might happen in their life. And so breaking that up into 8-week format allows a student to take 2 classes at a time as opposed to 4 16-week classes. So they could take 2 weeks, 2 courses at a time, focus on the 8 weeks, complete that, and go on to the second 8 weeks. If they're in the first 8 weeks and something happens in a class, they don't have to wait a full semester. They can just start in the second 8 weeks, either retaking a course or continuing in another program or another course. So there's a lot of different on ramps and off ramps that help student success in an 8-week format. So they would be taking classes in the 8-week format um, all the way through this program, and they would be entirely online, but they would need to complete the courses within that 8 weeks.
And when does enrollment for this program start?
Enrollment is open now,
Okay.
and the program will begin in fall of 2025.
And that's they can go to degrees.yc.edu, is that correct?
Yes.
Fantastic. What else do you wanna share? I mean, that's great. You guys just keep you got a great nursing program, you have other bachelor's programs, you're getting one of the first, the community colleges to do that. You wanna share any of that other info while we're talking?
Yeah, so, in addition to this, so this is actually our 4th baccalaureate degree, our very first one, in 2021, right after that announcement came out, we were the first rural community college to offer baccalaureates, and we offered a baccalaureate degree in business. It has 4 concentrations, and then we secondly offered a Bachelor of Science in Nursing, which is the RN to BSN. And then we just came out with a 3rd baccalaureate degree. It's 120 credits, but it's the baccalaureate degree in computer science. And so, this is our 4th, and, you might ask, why didn't we do computer science in 90 credits? Well, when we worked with our, higher learning commission liaison, his suggestion to us, because we were gonna be the first in the nation to offer this, was to use a baccalaureate degree that we knew already had great success, and that was our business degree, the very first one that we did. And so his suggestion was, to create the 92 credit hour program in business because we had a track record there of
Yeah.
interest and support, and then from then on, we can offer 92 credit hours in other areas without, a full-on visit from the Higher Learning Commission.
You seem pretty excited.
Oh
You
my
seem
gosh.
pretty energized. What are you most excited about in education with you hear all the bad news, right? And we don't do bad news. We talk about solutions and things like what you're doing right now. Uh, what do you see around the corner in education that you're most excited about?
Wow. I think it's kind of a blending of, what higher ed is able to offer across educational types. So we have an early college, right, which is working with our dual enrollment students, but they actually come on campus in their junior and senior year, and they take college classes that they then get high school credit for, so they actually graduate with their associate's degree from the college before they graduate from high school, right? And so there's that blending of high school, community college, and then, traditionally have done associate's degrees for transfer, but now that's changing. We're offer baccalaureate degrees ourselves, and I think it allows us, particularly to be more agile and flexible and coming up with new options and being responsive, without having to worry about being in a lane, right?
Right.
Like we can work with our high schools, we can work with our 4-year institutions, and there's kind of this blending and fluidity, of who can offer what and what's possible for our region. We have 2 great universities here. One is private and, Embry-Riddle is very, I don't wanna say niche-y, but they have their focus, it's on aeronautics and all of those things. They do it very well, and I'm so happy to have them. But we don't really overlap a lot. They offer what they offer, we offer what we offer. Prescott College, same way. Uh, Great institution doing a lot of good things, but we all kinda have our own niches or lanes, if you will. Uh, but we don't have, like, a regional university here. We don't have a state university nearby, and we need to fill that space to some degree in order to be able to do it in an accessible, affordable way. Our students do have access to the universities, but the universities aren't necessarily focused on access and opportunity the way that the community colleges are, and we're tied directly to industry. And so the industry is telling us, we need this, and we're able to deliver that, without question. So I think that's what makes us most attractive and positioned in the best way in this community to do what we need for our students and our industry partners.
I know we've hired at least 3 or 4 people from your immediate program. Being certified Adobe is fantastic. Um, Congratulations to you and your team on moving first, moving fast, persisting. You guys are killing it. Um, for people that want to enroll, again, it's degrees.yc.edu at Yavapai College. And Dr. Ryan, will you come back again and talk about innovation as it happens for us?
Absolutely. I really appreciate you taking the opportunity to speak with me today.
I appreciate it too. We appreciate what you guys are doing as community builders and educators. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Simon.